You don't have information. Someone has to put the letters together. And I would say God did. And he assembles them together, end to end, just like that. You know how many letters are in your instruction set? 3.2 billion letters. That's a lot of information. Okay, what do we got next here? Oh, yes. My Bible talks about the days of creation. Now, my Bible says that God created the world in 6 days. Now, I asked you guys at the beginning if you thought dinosaurs and humans lived together. Now, let's take a look at what the Bible says for a second. Day 1, God created earth, space, time, and light. Day 2, he created the atmosphere. Day 3, he created dry land and plants. Day 4, he created the sun, the moon, and the stars. Day 5, now it gets interesting. He created the sea and flying creatures. This is day 5. Okay, anybody know what kind of dinosaur this is? Uh-huh.
A T-Rex.
No, good guess though. A lot of people think that. Anybody know? Mm-hmm. No, not that one either. You're close. Real close. Okay, you probably won't know. This is a mosasaur. And it looked a lot like an alligator, only it had flippers instead of legs. So it was a marine dinosaur. What day did God create the marine dinosaurs on? Uh-huh. Day 5, because that's when he created the sea and flying creatures. That's also when he created the pterodactyls. Now, what most people don't realize, this is actually the size of most pterodactyls. Most pterodactyls only have a wingspan about the length of a ruler. Most of them are quite small. When did God create the flying pterodactyls? On the 5th day. Okay, now day 6, now it gets really interesting. God creates people and the land animals. Is the hadrosaur a land animal? No? Well, so far as we know it was. Of course. So, according to the Bible, people and dinosaurs were created on day 6. So they lived together, according to the Bible. Now, is that really the case? Let's take a look and see what the scientific evidence says. 41. You guys ever read the book of Job? Yeah? You have? Okay. Well, when you get the chance, read the book of Job, chapter 40 and 41. It talks about 2 creatures called Behemoth and Leviathan. Now, let's take a look at what the description says of those strange creatures. Remember, this is after the flood. Okay? So remember, it says it ate grass like an ox. It had very strong, big belly muscles, just like me. That's muscle. It had a tail like a cedar. Like a cedar tree? That's strange. It had bones like bronze and iron, and it could drink a whole river. Okay, wait a minute. Do you guys maybe think this was an elephant? No? Let's take a look. Elephants don't have a tail like a cedar tree. Maybe it was a hippopotamus. Do you think it was or a rhinoceros? What about a rhinoceros? Rhinoceroses don't have a tail like a cedar tree. Yeah. Maybe it was a hippopotamus. They have big, strong belly muscles, right? Okay. A hippopotamus doesn't have a tail like a cedar tree either. There's only one thing left that it could be. What has a tail like a cedar tree? The dinosaurs. T-Rex, Brachiosaurus, all the dinosaurs. Hadrosaurs, Stegosaurus. Now, let me show you something real quick. I almost forgot about this. We were talking about the hadrosaurs. They're a land animal, but what I didn't show you is why they call them a duck-billed dinosaur, and it has to do with the duckbill. They have what sure looks like the bill of a duck on his front. So this is a small hadrosaur. Again, it's a land animal. This was a plant eater, most likely. And the interesting thing about that hadrosaur down there is it has what looks like T-Rex tooth bite marks all over it. Now, I don't think T-Rex was a meat eater. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was. I think there's a lot of good reasons for that. Did you guys see this yet?
No.
Did you see it looks like a duck? It looks like a duckbill, doesn't it? That's why they call it a duck-billed dinosaur. Okay. This is a hadrosaur. There isn't anything dangerous about them. Although I always talk about them as my big, vicious pet duck. But that's just me. Now, anybody know which dinosaur that is?
T-Rex.
T-Rex. Oh, yes. Everybody knows what T-Rex is. Now, I happen to have a cast of a tooth from T-Rex. Do you guys think T-Rex ate meat? You know? Okay. Well, you know, my Bible says that in the beginning, everything ate plants, and that was it. There was no meat eaters. So what about T-Rex? I was told it was a meat eater. Well, let's look at that scientifically. First of all, here's its tooth, but its tooth only goes into the gums this far. What's going to happen if it bites another dinosaur? It's going to rip its own teeth out. And dinosaur dentists were rare. I don't know about you guys, I wouldn't want the profession of a dinosaur dentist. That sounds dangerous to me. But even more interesting is when you take a close look at the teeth. Right there, you see that edge?
Yeah.
It's razor sharp. It actually has serrations, like a serrated knife. But that's not for meat, that's for canes and stalks and grasses. What about those little arms it's got up front? What are those good for?
Nothing.
Nothing. Exactly, amen. They're not good for anything. I figure, you know what it's good for, I figure? Holding toothpicks. I figure that's about all it's good for. Its arms aren't much bigger than yours, yet we're told it did things like rip other dinosaurs apart. Can you rip a dinosaur apart with your arms? No. There doesn't seem to be anything meat eater-like about the T-Rex. My Bible says, well, if it had a knife, maybe. But my Bible says they ate plants in the beginning. The evidence seems to line up with that. Anybody know what that's a skull of? Mm-hmm.
T-Rex.
Nope. Good guess, though. It's, well, I'll tell you what. Let me ask you another question first. Do you guys think that's a meat eater?
No.
No? But look at those big, sharp, pointy teeth. Doesn't it look big and vicious? Well, the T-Rex had big, shiny, sharp teeth like that. It was a meat eater, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you seem to think you knew what it was. You know what that skull is? Yeah. You're close. It looks like a dog, doesn't it? It's not, though. You know what it is? It's a fruit bat. What do fruit bats eat?
Fruit.
How do we know?
Because
We can observe them eating fruit, right? Ah, that's good science. Has anybody seen a T-Rex lately?
No.
That's good. I'm glad. So we don't have a T-Rex around to observe what it eats, do we? So we really don't know what it eats, just looking at its teeth, do we? We can't tell. Okay, what do I got next? Oh, yes, okay. You guys want to go on a dinosaur dig? Okay, let's go on a dinosaur dig. The dinosaurs tell a very interesting story, and there's a lot to be learned from the dinosaurs. Now, this is a dig site up in northwest Colorado. My good friend Carl Baugh brings a team up there every year. I've gone a couple of times now. And to give you a size for scale, there's a truck, and there's the dig site way up there on the hill. Okay? So let's take a closer look. There's my good friend Joe Taylor. He even looks like a paleontologist. He's got a beard like down to here. Really cool guy. And he digs dinosaurs for a living. Now, you see all this plastic and all those flags? Every single one of those, dinosaur bone. Where we were digging, there was anywhere from 3 to 30 bones per every square yard. It's a lot of dinosaur bones. For instance, here Jordan is working on a dinosaur bone the size of my leg. One leg bone. And it was the size of my leg. This is bone. This was a big, flat, platy bone. Bone, 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 bone. Bone, 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 bone. Another chunk of bone, another chunk of bone. And what we do is we dig around them. When you're out in the field, you try not to dig up the bones. You try and dig around them, find the edges. Then we pack it in tinfoil, just like this, and then we pack it in what we call a plaster jacket. Have any of you broken a bone, like your arm or your leg? Quite a few, okay. You know that cast they put on your arm? Same stuff. Pretty tough stuff, isn't it? Okay, so we wrap it all in this plaster jacket, we rip it out of the ground. Here we are, we've got this one prepped, just about ready to pull out. It's a big chunk, probably weighed about 500-600 pounds, and we roll it out, and then we fill all that in with plaster, and then we take it on a trailer to the lab. And that's where we open it up, and that's where we look at the dinosaur bones. The reason we do that is because when you're out in the field, if you drop a bone fragment, you may never find it again. But if you're running a good lab, you keep the floors swept and clean, and you can find the pieces you drop or any mistakes you make. Now, there it is, ready to go. So we're going to now drag that down the hill, put it on a trailer, take it back to the lab. This is 100 miles away in Utah. 100 miles away. That's a long way away. This is Dinosaur National Monument. Now, unfortunately, I'd say you should go and visit it, but 2 weeks after I took these pictures, they closed it down. And it's going to be closed until they fix that building because the building's falling apart, unfortunately. So if they open it up again, go see it, because when you go inside, you see nothing but dinosaur bones. Tons and tons and tons of dinosaur bones. Now, you notice all the dinosaurs are ripped apart? I wonder what happened to them. A flood? A meteor, okay. I'll give you a big hint. Here's a major clue as to what happened to these poor dinosaurs. If I can find them. There they are. You know what the most common fossil there is? Nope. It's not dinosaur bones. It is fossil clams. Where do clams live?
In the water.
In the water? Do you think dinosaurs and clams live together?
Yes.
No, not likely, huh? But if they were buried in a flood, ripped apart, had all their limbs and bodies ripped apart, it would make sense that they were buried together with clams, wouldn't it? And these are clams that were buried in the closed position. They were buried alive. And there's tons of them. Okay, I'm going to pass these ones around too. Who's got my dinosaur egg? Oh, okay. I don't want anybody walking out with that. I'm paranoid. Okay, I'm going to pass this around here, okay? So make sure everybody gets a chance to see it. Now, when we find dinosaurs, they're usually found in two ways. They're either ripped apart, like we saw, and if you go to the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta, which is a really cool museum, you got to visit it, they try and explain it like this. This was a huge flood that happened in Quebec, not far from my house. And you see all those animals that were buried together in the river? That makes sense. Sure, they were just buried together. However, here's the thing. That is a small river. This is a map of that formation we saw those dinosaur bones in. This was no small river. This was a giant flood. Gargantuan flood. Now, when we find dinosaurs, we either find them ripped apart or we find them in what we call the death pose. Now, what I have here, anybody know the name of this fossil by chance? No, not mini dinosaur. I'm usually surprised. Someone usually knows. Does anybody know the name of that fossil? Oh, it's not a lizard. You want to try? No, not a tiny dinosaur. Good guess, though. Oh, okay. Well, no, it isn't. Good guess, though. This is what we